Despite the passage of 26 years and 11 main entries, there has never been a better time to try Mortal Kombat. With a potent mixture of great tutorials, clever character design, and innovative combat mechanics, NetherRealm's newest fighting game introduces newcomers without sacrificing depth. It offers separate starting points for players who prefer story or competition or customization. Simply put, Mortal Kombat 11 is a fighting game for everyone, and that's awesome. NetherRealm's previous game, 2017's Injustice 2, achieved a similar effect, albeit through different means. It used DC's brand awareness to bring in fans of Batman, Superman, associated friends and foes, before unfurling a huge loot grind that encouraged experimentation across several modes. It struck a careful balance between challenge and accessibility. I enjoyed it so much, I made a video about it. With Mortal Kombat 11, it feels as if NetherRealm took that balance and ran with it. It displays the hardcore fighting aspects it's mastered over almost 3 decades, but conversely, it's also the studio's most accessible title yet. I myself have never been a hardcore fighting game fan. I complete story modes, spend a few nights playing with friends, and usually move on. For me, the genre has been a series of short-term relationships. I loved each game in its own way, but I couldn't commit. Yet Mortal Kombat 11 hooked me in a way I did not expect. I actively want to get better. This all began, as it often does, with the narrative. This dumb, fantastical, time-bending, fire-breathing, spine-ripping, utterly ridiculous tale of love, loss, and how much Kano fucking sucks. It introduced me to some of my favorite characters and encouraged me to dig deeper. It was the pickaxe to Mortal Kombat's shimmering gold mine. Shortly after defeating Kronika and her minions, I struck the next layer, NetherRealm's fantastic tutorials. They begin with moves as basic as a front punch or a back kick, before transitioning into dash cancels and flawless blocks. Before long, I found myself studying frame data and match strategy. Contrary to most fighting game tutorials, in which I usually give up once I hit a skill I can't fathom using in an actual match, MK11 shows me why I should consider mastering that skill. What's crucial here is that with a single button press, you can practice the timing of these advanced maneuvers while MK11's AI demonstrates them. I was this close to giving up on get-up attacks before I pushed my touchpad, practiced the button timing, and soon understood how useful this skill could be. I'm still not great at pulling them off, but I understand them. And this constant learning gives me a deeper appreciation for what I already considered a very fun game. I was so engrossed in learning Mortal Kombat 11's universal mechanics that it took me a while to notice its inclusion of character-specific tutorials. These go beyond the standard practice sessions I normally use to learn a character. They actively explain a fighter's best functions along with his or her strengths and weaknesses. Some are obvious, like Aaron Black's role as a zoner. Others take a bit more time to discover, such as Noob Saibot's ability to use a crushing blow against an enemy that's blocking high. Each character is as complicated as they are flashy, and the tutorials are an excellent way to explore their layers. This brings me to Mortal Kombat's characters themselves, and I'm actively restraining myself from going off for another 30 minutes. I'm obsessed with the intricacies of character design in genres ranging from first-person shooters to tactical strategy titles. How different fighters or soldiers factor into the overall flow of a game, how they reinforce its ideas or transform its systems. And Mortal Kombat 11's characters are colorful proof of NetherRealm's design acumen. In a recent video about Warframe, I explored the concept of lenticular design. It's a phrase coined by Magic the Gathering lead designer Mark Rosewater, used to describe systems that are simultaneously simple to beginners and complex to veterans. And like Warframe, MK11 makes great use of this practice. Take Scorpion, one of the franchise's most iconic characters. At first blush, he's an agile ninja equipped with katanas and a grappling hook. Right away, these weapons make it clear that he can excel at close range or from longer distances. As you learn him, you'll likely benefit from a combination of both. However, once you dig into his special moves, you'll discover his more supernatural powers, namely flame attacks and teleportation. Experienced Scorpion players will know how to throw off their enemy by using his whole moveset. Sure, you can win a fight just by punching, kicking, and swinging your sword, but you'll win more constantly by switching up your offensive strategy. This balance between obvious abilities and more complicated, and often more useful, powers is what makes Scorpion a lenticular character. And it's not just MK11's characters that demonstrate this dichotomy, so too do the new Fatal Blows. These maneuvers give you a fighting chance when getting your ass kicked by another player. Once your health drops below 30%, you gain access to this powerful attack that melts away more health than any other one attack in your fighter's arsenal. It doesn't completely level the playing field each time, but it does keep matches interesting more often than not. You also only get to use one successful Fatal Blow per match, so when you use it is an important decision in its own right. I've seen Fatal Blows compared to Mario Kart's infamous blue shells, but that's hyperbolic to say the least. Unlike Mario Kart's rubber band item, Fatal Blows don't completely negate the skill of the best player, they merely bolster that of the weaker or unluckier one. They require thought and strategy to use correctly. With all this talk about character design and special moves, it's time I addressed MK11's loot system, which has recently drawn a lot of criticism. And in this regard, NetherRealm both reinforces and completely undermines the entire point of this video. So thanks a ton, NetherRealm. On the bright side, the fighting game's loot system is yet another way it brings players into new modes, encouraging them to try the Towers of Time or classic challenges, and rewarding them with a continual supply of cosmetics, ability augments, and gory cinematic moves. On the not-so-bright side, if you want them all, it takes a very long time or a lot of money to unlock every one. This runs completely against the intelligent systems throughout the rest of the game, ones that are so good about welcoming new players and rewarding dedicated ones. Now, NetherRealm has promised it's working on fixing the loot system to better respect players' time. I hope it does. At its best, Mortal Kombat's loot amplifies the joys of exploring its roster. By unlocking a new cosmetic item for Geras or a new fatality for Cabal, the game entices me to try characters I otherwise might not. As it stands now, though, MK11's suite of unlockables feels borderline predatory, and that's a huge bummer. Regardless of whether NetherRealm actually does improve that aspect of its newest release, I can't help but love everything else it has to offer. For the first time, I'm not only excited to keep learning a fighting game, but almost every layer of the game is helping me to do so. There are brick walls here and there when a boss repeatedly destroys me, or when my friend Dan won't stop mashing his controller and somehow winning no matter what tactics I use against him and how much I let my anger fuel my every waking hour getting better so I can beat him and finally laugh in his face. But this is that rare kind of game that makes breaking through those walls fun. In almost every layer of its design, Mortal Kombat 11 is a fighting game for everyone. And it's all the better because of it.